All right, everybody, so I'm testing out this Lansky Eraser block. I picked this up at an Ace Hardware that's not too far from me for $7, which I thought was a decent price to buy something that might work and maybe it might not. And I thought at least I'll make a video on it. Now, this is made in Germany. It's a mild abrasive. It says it'll take glazing off of ceramic rods and sharpening stones, things like that. But it will also take rust and corrosion and other spots off of axes. Now, I chop oak a lot, so I immediately thought, will this take off tannins? And it absolutely does. You can see these used to be kind of real dark, and I could even spend a little bit more time further back on the bit. But those tannin spots were real dark and kind of blotchy. They just didn't look great. And I thought, let's check out if it takes the tannins off, and it does a wonderful job. But also with this Rinaldi Milano that I got back in working order, looks nice and polished again. It looks nice and polished for a working axe, not some axe that you'll hang on the wall or put in a case or something. So this is a great functional tool. For $7, I think it's well worth it. I checked out the price on Amazon. It's like $8. So this is great. I did want to note I'm going to include an Amazon affiliate link for this eraser block. I've been looking for ways to grow the channel and try some things out and do some more things, but I don't really have the ability to leverage my channel to do that right now. I'm kind of stuck in between, in my opinion, the lesser of two evils here, which is the affiliate links. Because if I like a product and I think it offers a good value to me, I think it'll offer a good value to somebody else, and I don't need to take money from a company that's going to taint my opinion on a product. This is just, you cut the company out of it. I can just say what I think is good, what maybe you should pass on. And this is a product that, I think absolutely pull the trigger on. It's a way for me to invest in the channel, and for anybody out there that finds value in my content to invest in the channel. And so I really appreciate all the people out there that have already used an affiliate link. I put out a Christmas video, and I saw a number of people were purchasing things from that video. It's not a huge money maker. I'm at a whopping total of $8 now on the affiliate links. So I'm off to the casino. No, but it is just a way for me to maybe leverage the channel to try out some products people might be interested in, and try out some tools that I think might be helpful to everybody out there. So maybe in a couple years, those affiliate links will pay off, and we can buy an axe. So anyways, all right. So if you are looking for something to remove rust, check out this video. It'll also do tannins and even some of the other stuff, resins that you just pick up from the wood. So check out the video. I think this works quite well, and I've got an Amazon affiliate link in the description below. So thanks, everybody, and Merry Christmas. All right, everybody. Well, it is proper cold this morning in Georgia, but despite that, we are in the shop testing out something that I saw at an Ace Hardware. That's, a little bit farther than I'd like to drive, but I was out that way anyways, so I stopped by. They're one of those few Aces in my area that still has the good stuff. I mean, if you were a tradesman, you could still find some value in those Ace Hardwares. There's been a real trend on a lot of the other ones, and, the more urban you get, the more this trend is true, but they tend to be more like knickknacks and flower shops and things of that nature. So apparently, from talking to a guy, selling flowers is a whole lot more profitable for those Ace Hardwares than selling things like this that I or you might find interesting. Now, I had seen this product around. It's a Lansky Eraser block, and it cost me $7. I don't know if you can see that. I'd seen it around before. I immediately liked that design. I was going to open it with my Buck 371. If you have Buck with an anvil, that's made in U.S. If you have, Buck without the anvil, that's Chinese made. If it doesn't say made in the USA with Buck, it was made in China. But we don't even need a knife to get this out. I really like that. Now, what is this? Oh, it's an actual kind of rubber. Cleans ceramic rod sticks. Okay, cool. Cool. I wonder if this would take deglazing off of my stones, my diamond stones. All right. Do we wet it? Do we do anything? Rinse with water to clean. For super tough spots or to reduce abrasion, wet the eraser block with water. Okay, do I need to get some water? I might need to get some water. I'll be right back, because that's what you want when it's 25 degrees out. Wet hands. Jeez Louise. Okay, so here is my, and you know what I'm gonna try to do here? I'm gonna try to put something down so I can elevate it. There we go, and you can see it a little bit better. All right, so this has, I mean, this is a working axe. You know, this is something that I use, and I use it outside. Now, what I did suspect would be the case is there's still a grind past where I've sharpened and used this axe, and maybe even a little bit of the coating. I really had no reason to touch anything behind the first half inch or so. And so those ridges from the grinding process are still there. So if you go across the grain, you'll never get them. But if you go with the grain, it actually does a fairly good job. Check that out. Look at that. Nice and shiny again. Let's find, all right, here we go. And I split oak and I chop oak with this. Those tannin stains are unavoidable when you work with oak. You're gonna get them no matter what you do. So let's see if we can get those off. I wonder how long this is gonna last. I mean, I can kind of feel it. Do we need a little water here? Here, I'll get a little water. Oh yeah, definitely use water. Otherwise, I think it just gets too clogged up. Wonder what this is made out of. It's very rubbery. I mean, to me, it feels like if you put, you know, silicon carbide or aluminum oxide, if you rubberized it. And I think that's probably what they did. Because here, check this out. You know, do you notice any similarities? I sure do. I think that's what they did. And it's a great idea. It actually works quite well. But I wonder if there's any chemicals in it. You know, because it does seem that the longer I let it sit, the better it works. Maybe that's just my imagination. Now this is the sharpening, or the splitting. So that's fairly dull. This side's quite keen. So that, I mean, it makes a lot of sense why there's more tannins there. I was splitting with this not too long ago, splitting some red oak. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that does a passable job. It's a lot better than it was. Can I get that chunk there? And this side I have done very little work to. Sharpening, because it's the splitting side. So that's why it's a little bit a little bit rougher. Now this is the axe that I had in mind specifically when I bought it. This is a Rinaldi Milano. This is such a good axe. I love it. I carved a white oak handle, very thin handle, and I left it out during one of the hurricanes that we had. I just totally spaced when I was worrying about buttoning down other stuff, and I just left it stuck to a stump. And so here we go. Now this is 55 SI7 steel. I've mentioned that a few times on my Rinaldi videos. Look at that coming off there. It's really good steel, really, really good. And this is one of those cases, Rinaldi kind of has a Buck thing going on, because Buck uses 420 high carbon steel, but with their heat treatment, they are able to far exceed the specifications of 420 steel that other manufacturers could meet. You know, they're able to just make it way better by virtue of their heat treatment. Look at that. Okay. I mean, I would say this does a nice job taking a bit from something that's, you know, just kind of crusty and, you know, it doesn't look that great, and you kind of look at it and you don't want to touch it, to you look at it and it just looks worn, like it looks well used. Here, I'll show you this side. You look at that versus that side. That looks nice. That looks like a used axe. That looks like an axe that has been well worn in. And then look at that. I mean, the light hardly glints off of it. So we'll see, just to give you a close-up here. Here's that. All right. Now I'm going to wet my sponge here. Do we call it a sponge? Do we call it a stone? I don't know. Look at all that. You can see it just come right off. Now, I assume that there's an abrasive in here. You know, kind of like those melamine magic eraser sponges. I mean, I feel like this is a cross between an aluminum oxide or a silicon carbide stone and one of those melamine magic erasers. I'd like to know how this thing is made. It works quite well. I'm very happy with how it works. Check that out. Hey, I did a great job. I'm very happy with that. Okay, so this is one of the last knives that that Old Hickory made, that Ontario Knife Company made under the Old Hickory line. And when I got it, I mean, it was pretty bad. It really wasn't worth the money. I mean, the company was just trying out anything that they could to stay afloat in the months and years leading up to the this eventual liquidation of their business. And one of the things that they came out with was this bushcraft knife, this bushcraft hunting knife. Guys had been begging for this for years, decades maybe. And what this is, it's a cut down version of their 8-inch butcher knife with a clip point. Guys had been modifying Old Hickory knives like this for years and years and years. So OKC finally came out with a model, but I mean, it was too little too late. This knife, the build quality was pretty terrible. These compression rivets are just insufficient for a knife that's going to see any kind of hard use. And so I ended up popping the scales off, epoxying it, putting the rivets back in. But a couple different things about this knife versus the standard kitchen knives. They made these out of 1075 steel. So this is going to be pretty much the same edge retention, but far better rust and corrosion resistance. I mean, it's not even close. You could almost sheath this knife, and this knife has been sheathed for a long time. There's still just a little spot here, and I'm gonna see if I can get that. And you really do want to get those goobers off your knife before they get worse, because they really do just fester. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to buy this knife. And the other thing I wanted to test is whether it takes off bluing. This knife isn't blued, but there is, I got a little spot back there. There are just a couple little spots that I wanted to take care of. Look at that. That's where it used to be. And it's gone now. And I don't care visually that much about what my knives look like. But if you have a nice high carbon steel knife like this, you really want to do as much as you can to protect the steel, and you want to avoid these rust spots, because those turn into, you know, little kind of cancerous things. I mean, this kind of maintenance, it's just unavoidable with a raw 1095 knife. I mean, you're just not gonna get around it. And so you just you either oil it very, very frequently. Now, I mean, I'm just trying to be careful. I'm trying not to push too hard, because my fingers are pretty close to that edge there. We'll just get that off. Come on now. Wow, all right. Check that out. Maybe a little bit in the stamping there, or the rolling. Just going by feel there. It's interesting how one side has a little bit more corrosion than the other. All right, so just a little bit of that. The other thing too that I wanted to point out is these K-bar sheaths fit these old hickory knives beautifully, just absolutely beautifully. And these K-bar sheaths are excellent quality. The leather is veg tanned. I mean, you can see it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's deep enough in there that you're not going to have issues with it falling out. I've carried it a number of times and I've never had an issue. Now, the biggest problem that I think with these old hickory knives was the sheaths. Oh my gosh, the sheaths are just horrendous. These had a belt loop that went from here to here. It's huge. That thing was, you know, sloppier than your uncle on Christmas. You know, it was just, it was so bad. And so I tightened it up, but the leather quality is just garbage. I mean, it's made in China. It's a chrome tanned leather of some kind, and the stitching was terrible. It came loose immediately. I just, you know, it's so sad what happened to Old Hickory. Used to be just a great brand, and I mean, now it's just, I hope they revive it. This is a Nesmik knife that I made myself out of 1095 bar stock. I quite like this knife, you know, and not just because I made it myself, but I really like the Nesmik style. This one's a little bit bigger than a lot of them out there, and it has, I think, maybe a little bit wider hump. So this is very comfortable. I mean, I just made it for my hand. I like it. It has, you know, I have maybe one spot on here I can hit a ferro rod with, but I didn't really make it with bushcraft in mind necessarily. I made it as a game knife. So let's see if it takes off bluing. Well, you know, it lightened it somewhat. Now I can feel some kind of crusties. That's why I wanted to tackle this knife. I want it to be smooth again. I don't want any of those crusties to develop into rust goobers. Oh, that's a little bit of something on there. That's not rust, though. Well, I tell you what, it has not taken off the bluing. Check that out. The bluing is still there, but it has done a wonderful job smoothing out that knife surface. So I feel confident that I can oil this guy down, throw it back in the sheath. Wow, I mean, there you go. So, you know, we took care of this Milano. And get that oiled again. You know, this is a working axe. So really the only thing that I'm concerned about is the rust getting in the way, you know, sticking in the cut, things like that. Plus, you know, I feel like just as a tool user, you know, it's just a good thing to take care of your stuff, you know? Like, you don't want to be the guy that shows up with, you know, crusty tools. You know, in 50 years, I want this axe to look just as good as today. I care a lot about that. I fall short quite frequently, but but you know, I at least feel bad when I do. So here we go, polished her right up. I love this axe. This has to be one of my favorite axes. This is a Council Tool redhead. You can still find the redheads. I don't know if they make them anymore. You can still find the redheads in you know, hardware shops and saw shops that have had stock for a while. Fantastic. They have a sport utility version that's really nice too, but I love that red paint. Wonderful. So anyways, here we go. I've got a white oak wedge in there. Joy to use. So, all right. Well, this Lansky eraser block works quite well. Whoa, let's see. There's a little data sheet. Oh, that's just an advertisement. Okay. Buffalo, New York. Made in Germany. Okay. German made. Very neat. All right. So I'm going to give this a big thumbs up. I'll put an Amazon link to the eraser block. I paid $7 for it. I wonder what it is on Amazon. And let me know if it's cheaper in the place where you buy your stuff. So anyways, I hope everybody's having a great, you know, kind of pre-Christmas weekend, getting all that preparation done for their family coming into town. It's just a wonderful time of year. So I will catch everybody next time.